here in Burlington, and behind me is a house on Colchester Avenue and Mill Street that you've probably seen on your way over the Winooski Bridge. Today we're going to meet a brother and sister who were born and raised in this house.
Oh yeah, we were born right upstairs.
And we were here for so long. We were here for 60 years, three of us.
Three of you, all born in that brick house.
Mm-hmm.
This is all post-flood.
Post-flood. We lived above this level. We lived up there.
Right. After almost 100 years, the Burlington-Winooski Bridge is slated for replacement. Perched next to the bridge on Colchester Avenue, a historic brick building has served many purposes, including a blacksmith, a grocery, and a secondhand store. For decades, it was also the Boyajians' family home.
It was like having a little Armenia inside that house. You know, the food and the culture was all different from what we knew outside. Listening to them talk about the old country and their experiences there. Because when they came here, there was a language problem. My father, of course, spoke a little better English because he'd been here. So my mother, I remember, went to night school to learn English. But pretty much we grew up, Armenian was our first language because we spoke it in the home. And then English we learned because we went to school.
They brought a lot of old customs here.
Their parents fled the Armenian genocide.
My father was one of 13 children. He was the youngest. And he was conscripted into the Turkish army. And he escaped at least twice that we know of. And he escaped and made it somehow to this country through friends. He lost all connection with his family. It was a horrible time.
The Armenian genocide. All of Europe knew what the Turks were doing.
I remember as a child, it was kind of a sadness in my life to know that that was our heritage, you know, that had happened to our people.
In 1927, floods devastated the state and washed out the bridge that connected the two towns.
I think this was just after the flood because you can see how it's all torn up there. When we lived there, it was this way. We lived on the first floor. When they rebuilt after the flood, they raised the level of the street, and so they took the first floor of this house and it became our basement. This was our basement apartment when I was growing up. And on the further end was my brother's workshop. It was an upholstery shop, and we were above it.
Stephen Boyajian.
Boyajian. I've been wondering for a while how to pronounce your name, Boyajian.
Our name in Armenian is Boyajian, and we couldn't get these people, you know, that lived around us to say that. So I said, oh, I got to stop.
Yeah, it's funny.
So I said Boyajian, and that was easy. And when we were growing up, it was hard for us because we had this funny last name, and every time we had to give our name, people would make faces at us and say, what is that? Oh, here I am. They never were taught about Armenia in school, so we were really strange, you know.
The family sold the house in 1986, and the building underwent an extensive restoration 10 years ago.
This is where we lived. They raised the building on hydraulic lifts and inserted this new level.
But there was a lot of foreigners that worked in the mill. Well, we were pretty much shunned a little bit. Oh yeah, you know, the dominating people were the French. Well, this was not a place for Armenians up here. They're almost non-existent. As soon as you left here, when I was even young, you go to Boston, tons of Armenians. I think that what motivated them and everybody, it didn't make any difference whether there was an Armenian or not, it was the freedom that they came to.
Yeah, I remember my parents saying many times, thank God for this country, because they had such humble and tragic, you know, beginnings. And when they came here, they thought they'd gone to heaven. So they've really treasured their freedom, as he says.
Because you got such good grades. Were your parents so proud of you for
Yeah.
doing so well?
Oh, yeah. Well, they came over here with practically nothing but a suitcase, and they managed to settle in Burlington, acquired 2 pieces of property, rental property, and raised children. And I was so proud of them. I mean, really proud. That's amazing. I think we remember the clicking, click, click, clack. There was always a noise coming from the machines going.
They were hard workers because they didn't want to be way down on a totem pole.
Remember Mrs. Bombard? She used to bake pies. So on Saturday mornings when I'd come to collect the rent, oh, the whole place just smelled so wonderful. I remember that.
Yeah.
The rents were like $7 a week.
This neighborhood was really poor.
We walked across that bridge a lot. You know, I went to the Methodist church in Winooski, walk across the bridge when we went to visit the Bedrosians in Winooski. I remember my mother and I used to walk. Everything you wanted was right on that main street.
They took everything out except on one side of going down a hill before you go over the bridge. That's the only thing that remains.
Oh my goodness, I just want to see. I mean, it looks so neat out here. Oh my. And our garage was right here. Oh my goodness. My mother used to have a garden right at the end. In the old days, there was a garage, an auto repair garage in this lot right here.
There was a pool hall down there. The soldiers used to come from 40th and Allen.
When Steve left the brick house, he bought a house up the street. His daughter Donna grew up there.
Well, I knew about my grandparents coming here and my grandfather working over at the mill.
Your aunt was talking about growing up and feeling sort of like an outsider.
Yeah.
When you were growing up, did that lessen or did
Oh,
you?
yeah. I didn't feel that way.
You were just American kid.
Yep, American kid.
You didn't grow up speaking Armenian in the
Not
home.
at all.
Right.
When I grew up, there were kids everywhere. Families sitting out on their porches.
Yes.
It's mainly rentals now. I'd say
Yeah,
half of the houses.
It kind of makes me sad.
We're the last line. Wow. Unless we document and talk about so we can pass it on. That is something.
Thanks, Steve and Lucy, for the walk down memory lane, and we will get stuck in Vermont with you again real soon. It's right on the back, Louis McAllister.
Oh, he did all the high school pictures.
That's amazing! I'm just so grateful that he chose to really make it his life to document all this. I realized that this bridge here was built in 1928, and you were born in 1933, so you're almost as old as this bridge.
Yeah.